What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you will receive a notification every time that I drop a video, and you can go and check the video out. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Let's get into it. This is 35 disturbing moments caught on camera in prison. The first one I did wasn't all that interesting, even as far as I'm concerned, a bunch of escapes and all this. I only seen a couple of minutes of this one, but it's pretty violent and gory already. Viewer discretion is advised.
On August 10, 2021, exactly at 10:56 p.m. Friday at the City Justice Center in downtown St. Louis, a few detainees decided to have a little fun sparring, but it settled, and about 11:30 p.m., a fight broke out as some inmates were attacking a person while the rest were just standing and watching. Corrections officers and other inmates were seen on the other side of where the fight was being held, and they were all watching the fight scene and went to call for help without entering the room. It seems to be a set match because fights just keep occurring over and over in the cell, leaving some convicts injured. While the correctional officers just stood back and watched the scene without interfering, one guard even yelled at them. But one of the detainees yelled back at her. A couple of minutes later, a prisoner was seen limping with his shirt covered in blood and was escorted out of the cell. But the fight didn't end there in the room. At about 2:15 a.m., the officers arrived with pepper spray and masks, which shows they were trying to get one prisoner out of the room, but it didn't go as planned, and it all escalated as the inmates rushed the door. The inmates were up in their unit wiping their eyes, and a little later the officers left, leaving the prisoners alone as they did whatever they liked in the cell. 5 hours after the fight, when the inmates were back in their cells, police officers and sheriffs arrived with gear, and one after another, they took out the prisoners with their hands cuffed. At the Alga Middlesex Detention Center, video footage shows the warden opening the cell doors for the detainees to start their chores at 8:13 a.m. The prisoners were all heading out of their rooms, but one of them looked suspicious, as if he was trying to hide something. After the guard left, he went back inside his cell and pulled out a bag of laundry. The other inmates were just looking at the guy without interfering, and continued their cleaning as the killer went to the neighboring cell to call for help. The murderer finally was able to drag the dead body to the shower. Detainees tried to clean the front of the room with different rags and solvents to hide the smell and stains left over.
So he done unalived his cellie up in there. Deputy, whatever, just passed by, checked the cells and didn't see him in there. Unconscious, unalived. They bring him out, drag his body out, and take it somewhere, and they clean it up. All this shit is on camera.
The inmate killer later brought out a stained mattress from his cell room and dropped it in an opposite room. Shortly after that, he brought about 5 shoes from his room, dumped them in the trash, and dragged the trash can closer to his room to continue cleaning up. The other inmates just continued their work without getting in the way of the cleanup. A while later, an officer came in the room and the killer got a mop and started cleaning casually the areas in front of his cell room. At the Oklahoma County Detention Center on Saturday,
That was crazy. Nobody saw this shit, all these damn police. This is crazy.
March 27th. A couple of detainees were seen walking around the room, and one of the detainees held a guard hostage. According to officials, Oklahoma City police were called in after an Oklahoma County jail inmate took a detention officer's keys, tied him up, and took him hostage. The attacker let other inmates out of their cells, and then an inmate got a hold of the knife and stabbed the detention officer multiple times after placing it on the table for a while. Shortly after that, the inmate got the knife again and held it to the officer's throat as police arrived on the scene. As police officers moved towards the bottom of the staircase, 2 officers opened fire and fatally shot the prisoner. The detention officer was later rescued.
That's it. Took him out. 2 headshots. Why you not ducking behind the dude? You got the knife to his neck. How you just give him a clear shot at your fucking dome? And what are they gonna do? Let you out?
On October 17, 2016, in a Racine County correctional facility, this terrifying video
Okay, I can already see he up to something. I can already see the way he's smiling. This dude's up to something.
shows an inmate being escorted by 2 guards. At first, this was nothing serious, as the prisoner
He looked like he up to something. Look at him.
was even seen walking peacefully with a bright smile on his face. When he noticed the prison officers were off guard, he turned, suddenly hitting
I tear through the cloudless night, just like the moon.
one of the wardens with a heavy fist and landing him on the floor. The other officer acted quickly as he jumped on him, pinning him down on the floor and battling with the prisoner to being able to escape. Other officers rushed out to help. A South African prisoner attempted an escape from prison. He succeeded in going past the gate, but the problem is that he didn't go through the normal way. He squeezed past the small opening in the middle of the gate. But he didn't successfully escape, as the police recaptured him. He was asked to return to the cell the same way he exited, and the video captured him struggling to squeeze past the same gap through which he came out. This video, captured by eyewitnesses, shows the epic chase of an escapee. The prisoner had escaped from prison, and still dressed in the signature orange prison uniform, he raced past several cats and shops. One cop was panting heavily while chasing after the escapee. It seemed the prisoner had made up his mind to escape because he showed no sign of stopping. He jumped over a low fence, and moments later, the officer got to the fence, panting. But the decisive prisoner had already escaped into oblivion.
Where's your backup? Where is the backup?
Where's your
He
backup?
lost the inmate, y'all.
CCTV cameras captured an impossible escape attempt by prisoner Jeffrey Hope at the county court.
Surveillance video shows Jeffrey Hope running out of a holding cell at the county courthouse and then running off down a hallway.
In the video, Hope can be seen in his prison uniform bursting out of a corner at full speed and running down a hallway. The police officer sitting there immediately takes off after him, even pulling out their teasers just in case. Hope's desperate attempt was for naught, though, as he is seen being dragged back by officers and pushed back into a cell. A very smooth prison escape was captured on video, where this prisoner in white seemed to turn into Spider-Man. He first walked to and from to make sure he was alone at that moment, and then, like a scene out of a movie, started climbing the walls with hands and feet. He eventually got out of sight, making his smooth escape to freedom. A surveillance camera captured a group of inmates standing in the prison yard, some shirtless. But the striking thing about this video is that it showed one of the inmates with a tattoo on his right arm steadily climbing up the high prison fence. Other inmates watched him as he climbed to the top of the fence and jumped off to the other side. Looking around and finding no
Tattoo said blessed on his right arm. Look, he trying to be blessed. He trying to get the fuck out of there. Tall wall and a lot of barbed wire. When it's time to go, it's time to fucking go.
one, he fled into the shadows and his freedom. A court CCTV on February 13, 2023, captured a video of a group of prisoners in white and orange striped prison uniforms sitting on the front row in court while the court sitting progressed. However, as the court was going on with its business, one of the prisoners stood up and walked directly to the window. He jumped out of the window and fell straight to the floor, taking to his heels thereafter. Reports are that he was later caught and taken to the hospital for treatment. On August 22, 2022, a surveillance camera captured an uprising in the Indian River Juvenile Correctional Center, showing a group of young detainees wreaking havoc in the place.
Uprising.
Tables were broken and overturned. There were laptops and desktops smashed on the floor. The detainees brought tables and a shelf to the door, barricading themselves in. Then they started attempting to break a door, probably their escape route. But no matter how many people were at the door, it didn't budge. They went back to throwing things around and smashing what objects they could find. One of them climbed onto a table and sneered something at the camera, blocking the view from the inside. Here, A rather hilarious escape of a prisoner was captured. The video shows police officers looking frantically for a prisoner around a vehicle. Unbeknownst to them, the prisoner they were looking for was lying flat on top of the vehicle. The officers looked around the vehicle, with one of them flashing a light and looking beneath the vehicle, yet there was no sign of the prisoner. He stayed motionless on the vehicle, and the ignorant officers eventually drove off. In a video captured by surveillance, an inmate was seen pulling a waste bin to a corner where he's already kept one bin, but it turned out that it wasn't trash, I'm the bins, because a few moments later, two people came out of the bins. The two people were wearing the customary orange prison uniform, showing that they were also detainees. They stepped out of the trash bins and quietly made their escape without wasting time. A police dashcam on April 5, 2006, captured an encounter between a police officer and a prison escapee. The officers stopped the escapee while they'd been after, but this particular ex-inmate kept his cool as he talked with the officer. He told him his name was Robert Jones and that he was only jogging. The police officer put a call through to the station to get the details of the escapee so they could match it with those of Jones.
You're how old? 50? I was born in 56. You said born in 56. No, it's short hair. My guy's got skin cut hair. He's got a beard, a goatee like.
Eventually, he was convinced that Robert Jones was indeed a jogger and let him go. As seen in this video, a white police vehicle approached a building and stopped in front of it. Police officers in blue began to come out, followed by a man in a black suit. The prisoner followed the black-suited man out, but just then, he bolted to the right, pushing the officer who was blocking his way and running to the side of the building. The law enforcement agents gave a short chase, but when they realized he was too fast, they pulled out their pistols and started firing. The prisoner ran in a zigzag motion to avoid the bullets and ran on. One of the police officers followed him in the hope of finding him. Good luck with that. This video shows a view of a prison compound with a white bus packed by the side.
How you just gonna open fire because he take off running? How you just gonna unalive the man? Jeez.
Suddenly, two shirtless detainees in black and white striped prison pants are seen jumping off the prison fence. They don't stop after jumping but flee by going around the bus. A murder suspect, Dwayne Shane, was in court for his trial. He was allowed to roam freely in the court with a GPS tracker attached to his ankle. The court surveillance camera captured a video of him walking calmly down the hallway. On the other side of the hallway, his girlfriend was also calmly walking about. The video showed Shane and his dad casually walking past the cops, who paid no attention to them. After a while, Shane and his dad casually strutted out of the court like they were taking a stroll, followed by his girlfriend, and once outside, he took off his jacket. A van, driven by his mother, pulled up on the road and three of them got in. The vehicle sped off, with Shane throwing out his GPS tracker. He was later recaptured and sentenced. In the Lake County Courthouse in Illinois, Travis Copeland was facing charges. The court camera captured a video of him running down a corridor. He had escaped the courtroom and was now trying to flee from the premises. His options were not good, as he was seen running the opposite way, but two cops had spotted him. Running out of options, he tried his last chance, the widow. Copeland braced himself and lunged at the widow.
It's called Pi, and if that sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you've seen their ads everywhere. It's an ad blocker that works on Twitch, YouTube, Amazon.
Widow, not knowing it was bulletproof. The widow didn't budge. After failing to escape and being surrounded by cops, he gently laid on the ground and put his hands behind his back. The officers cuffed him and led him back to the courtroom. A dangerous Russian criminal escaped from detention in 2013. His escape was captured by CCTV cameras. The man was in a tall building, probably on the highest floor, but he'd made a rope. With his rope, he climbed out of the window and gently lowered himself to a certain height before jumping off into the compound.
Like I say, that's how people used to try to escape from the Los Angeles County Jail on top of the roof. Make a long rope out of a sheet, where it's real tight, and climb down on the motherfucker, past the barbed wire and all that.
Then he walked into the offices, where a policeman saw him but didn't recognize him as a detainee. The prisoner casually walked through the door and to the front of the premises before leaving the place completely. A video captured in prison showed a confrontation between two inmates, a shirtless detainee and a new inmate. The video shows the shirtless guy yelling at the new inmate and advancing menacingly towards him while the guy tries to fight him off. But the shirtless detainee continued, eventually forcing the new guy into a corner, causing him to beg. A brutal video from the Arizona Department of Corrections prison is being shown. This incident happened at 9:55 in the morning on November 3, 2020. An officer was checking the cell, and two convicts walked up to him. One held the guard from behind as the other rained on him with his fist. Another prisoner was seen just walking away as if nothing was going on. Some seconds later, the officer was able to free himself, reached out for his pepper spray, and began shooting. The criminals scattered to the first floor as they watched the officer walk away from above. After a few minutes of spraying, the inmates attacked the guard again, more furious this time as they threw more fists and kicks at the warden. When the officer managed to free himself and go for an escape, the prisoners caught onto him and slammed him on the floor. One prisoner seemed
fucking him up
to even hurt his foot while kicking the guard. After a short while, the convict decided to stop for a bit and free the officer. As he managed to reach the stairs, they went after him again, kicking very aggressively. One prisoner was even spraying him with the pepper spray he held before, and they finally set him free as he walked up the stairs. CCTV footage captured a rather shocking scene at a police station. Prisoners had been brought out of their cells for a quick trial, with cops guarding the place. But not all the prisoners were calm. Right under the noses of the cops, one prisoner decided to run for his freedom. He made a break for it. When he got to the door, the officers pounced on him but couldn't stop him. He fled the place, with cops chasing behind him. Seeing the success of his co-prisoner, another detainee bolted towards the door. The single cop there could not stop him at all as he made it through. This was the beginning of an epic chase, as one of the cops got on his bike to follow them. While all that happened, the other prisoners sat quietly. A court camera captured a video of a prisoner hijacking a police van to escape after being sentenced. The detainee drives the van, ramming it into the gate and taking the gate down. The man who tried to stop him was sent to the ground along with the gate, and all attempts to stop him failed miserably. In the end, he escaped, speeding into the distance with the hijacked van. In a shocking video released, an inmate went live on Facebook right from prison. The detainee, Joey Rivera, posted the video on his YouTube page.
He got a shank in his left hand, a cold blade right there. He got a YouTube
page where he was seen brandishing a shiny knife with another inmate.
You see this? This is how we do it in here.
Then he proceeded to give his followers a live tour of the prison, leaving many confused as to how he got a cell phone and a knife in a prison cell. Court surveillance captured a wild video of a murder suspect in a blue shirt who was led into an office by two cops. One of the officers removed the cuffs from the suspect's hands, and he slowly walked towards a desk as if to sit on it. But then he bolted, jumping over a chair and going through the door, with the two cops chasing hotly after him. The video switched to the hallway.
A lot of people trying to escape, man. Nobody wants to do time. I understand you don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Motherfuckers trying to get the hell out of here. All these people jumping off of buildings, going through barbed wire and all this, breaking their damn legs trying to get out of this fucking prison shit, man.
And the man was seen sprinting down towards another door, with the officers not too far behind him. He ran through different hallways and eventually bolted through a door only used by staff, taking the cops with him in an epic chase. This video, captured in India, shows the high walls of the Karnataka prison. A detainee is seen trying to scale the fence. He jumps off, and despite landing on his feet, he still falls heavily to the ground. Then he gets up, limping. It could be that the jump had affected him more than it seems. The prisoner limped.
Before I was born, how did I get inside mom's tummy?
You think? His whole fucking leg fucked
limped away from the wall and went to the road in search of public transport to take him to his hideout. On a Saturday night, at the Espanola police station, Carl Romero was on duty and watching the surveillance cameras when the cameras captured something eerie. Romero said he saw an image in the camera, which he thought was a moth, until he saw the legs.
And then I saw the legs and it was a human.
And it turned out to be human, but not a real human. There was no going out or coming into the place without opening the iron gates and sounding the alarm. Yet the creature caught by the camera went through without causing any problems. Romero believes it was a ghost. This next footage shows detainees as they harass the Cook County Sheriff. As seen in the footage, a group of detainees rushed up to the two guards in the cell room just when they were about to open the door to get out of the room. They rush in on them while they try to defend themselves, but they are outnumbered as the prisoners are too fit to handle on their own. A little while later, after the guards were able to get themselves free, they went to call for backup, but it seems one officer was injured as he was holding up his face and crying in pain. Finally, the guards came out for help and rushed into the cell room where it all happened. The prisoners were already lying down on the floor when they got there, and the officers jumped on them to prevent any more attacks. CCTV cameras from different angles were focused on a black SUV that was used to transport a suspect to jail. The SUV came to a halt as the driver was paying for something. That moment turned out to be the opportunity that the suspect was looking for, as in a fluid move, he opened the car door and fled into the distance. Realizing what had happened, the driver moved the car, got out, and followed after the suspect. In this video captured on a highway, a man frantically ran across the road, almost disregarding the vehicles. It was clear that he was fleeing from something. Several police officers were seen standing by the road with some German Shepherd dogs. One of the cops went to the back of a vehicle and in it was an empty seat. The prisoner they were escorting had bolted. It turned out the man from earlier was a prisoner who had escaped. In this body cam footage taken at approximately 11:30 p.m., NYPD officers responded to multiple 911 calls regarding a man who was reportedly threatening a family member with a knife. 3 officers entered one of the elevators and were preparing to ride it to the man's floor, while 2 others were trying to prop open the lobby door with flyers in anticipation of backup. All of a sudden, the suspect emerged from the second elevator not occupied by officers and moved quickly towards an officer, swinging the knife directly at this officer. That officer retreated outside of the lobby, and then the suspect charged towards the elevator occupied by 3 officers. One officer fired at the man with a taser, and 2 officers pulled out their service weapons and shot the man multiple times at close range. The video shows the man on his back just outside the elevator as his right arm went limp. After the shooting, the officers tried to save the man's life. On June 14th, a maximum security prison in
They don't. He didn't try to save his life. They claim he tried to save his life. Yeah, whatever. Of course, it's going to be justified. He coming at him with a knife. Jeez.
Miami showed a video of a power breakdown in the prison as the inmates walked out of their cells and chased after a shirtless prisoner. The inmate being chased jumped off from the first floor to the ground floor and broke his leg. Another prisoner rushed to his rescue as he stood around him like a shield. This video caught on a surveillance camera.
Might as well stay and fight. Jumping off that shit and breaking your leg. They ain't finna break your leg. They ain't finna do worse. They ain't gonna beat you up as bad as that ground's gonna beat you up, man. Jumping like that. God damn.
At the maximum security Southern Ohio Correctional Facility in Lucasville shows detainees handcuffed to a table in a recreational area, and another inmate in the area behind them manages to slip out of his handcuffs and pull out a homemade knife and starts chasing the other prisoners who are cuffed to the table as they run circles around the table. And finally, he was able to stab the inmates as there were no other ways the detainees could defend themselves. The prison guards watched from behind, and they did nothing about it. In the video, an inmate from the new
Police guards watched from behind and did nothing about it. He said they cuffed up. I saw this somewhere. They sued. Them dudes sued. I don't know what happened though. They sued though. But I mean, they cuffed up. This dude got a knife. Look like a white dude or something. They can't. What can they do? They can't defend themselves. They handcuffed. And the police sat right there and did nothing. Like they set this shit up, man.
Albany County Jail in Mississippi was being escorted to the courtroom by officers. The prisoner's hand was cuffed and tied around his wrists. The prisoner yelled at the guards in front of him and angrily head-butted one of them. The officers responded quickly as they fired back, immediately carrying him out of the room. On June 14th, in a Miami maximum security prison, a video was captured by surveillance showing a sudden power breakdown which caused the doors of the cells to open at the same time. The inmates walked out of their cells and, for some reason, chased after a shirtless prisoner. The detainee on the run jumped off from the first floor to the ground floor, breaking his ankle in the process. Another prisoner rushed to his rescue as he stood around him like a shield.
All right, man, that's it. 35 violent prison moments caught on camera. That shit was crazy. What is he jumping off the tier for? Just stand there and fight, because, I mean, you have more of a chance on getting injured jumping off the fucking tier than you do sitting here fighting these dudes. They ain't built like that. They ain't like this old weak-ass county jail. Dude's crazy, man. But that second story, though, the dude dragging out the body from his damn cell. All the police walking around don't even see the shit. That's how it is, man. That's prison for you, man. Wow. I'll be back. In the meantime, stay free, people.